Hey friends, today I'll be teaching you how to beat the Owlbear on Honor Mode. We've got an overview, preparation, combat tactics, and mistakes to avoid. My name's Aaron, I am the Alpine DM, now let's get to it. Overview. The Owlbear's legendary action is Call Consort, which summons another Owlbear and pretty much makes the fight twice as difficult. But with some planning and preparation, you'll be able to easily defeat this boss fight without breaking a sweat. Thankfully, the Owlbear can't land critical hits, but when they're low on health, they'll enter into a rage, which increases their damage output and makes them resistant to physical damage. If you're curious, here's my team's overview. I made a couple of huge mistakes in this fight, which I'll point out later, but I was still able to beat it at level 4. However, if you're really struggling or scared, just go ahead and get to level 5 to make it significantly easier by essentially doubling your damage output for most classes. Preparation. Here's a few things to bring with you to make this fight a little bit easier and tilt the scales of battle in your favor. Number 1, the Friends cantrip. This is going to help you during the first cutscene so that you can actually position your people where you want to and not just get suddenly thrown into the fight. Number 2, anything to coat your weapons to help you do extra damage, such as poison or dipping the weapon in flames. Number 3, the Calm Emotion spell will neutralize the Owlbear's rage and essentially acts as a debuff in this fight. Tactics. If possible, position your melee fighters right next to the Mama Owlbear and your ranged or support characters up on this rock bridge. You can try to sneak around the Owlbear, but the cutscene seems to be based on proximity and not actually sight. This is where the Friends cantrip really comes in handy by giving you advantage and ensuring you don't begin the fight before you're actually ready. Right before your first attack, apply any buffs that you'll want. Again, anything that gives elemental damage bonuses is super helpful, particularly in the second half of the fight when the Owlbear is enraged, and then start swinging. As much as possible, try to focus on one Owlbear at a time, ideally killing it before moving on to the next one, but of course that's not always possible. In my fight, the Owlbear's mate decided to single out Shadowheart, so I used this opportunity to use one of my favorite spells, Inflict Wounds. Normally, I don't use up a spell slot for this since it's a touch spell and it really sucks to miss, but the Owlbears have pretty low AC, relatively speaking, and Inflict Wounds can do some crazy damage, so in this case, it's definitely worth it. Mistakes. In my fight, I made a few mistakes that hopefully you can learn from to ensure you don't lose your honor mode progress, because what a bummer that would be. Number 1, equip the right weapon before you coat it in poison. I seriously do this all the time, but make sure that you are applying poison to the weapon you want and not giving it to Karlach's ranged weapon like I did, like a dingus. Number 2, make sure all reactions are asking you to confirm and aren't happening automatically. For example, Lae'zel used riposte twice on the Owlbear cub, which was absolutely not part of my plan, so I had to end up killing the Owlbear cub and I wasted some of the battle maneuver dice. Number 3, optimize damage output. With my Warlock, I used Chain Lightning for a few turns, even though I would have been much better off using Hex and Eldritch Blast, so just make sure you have your combos and your damage dealing spells really dialed in and you don't make silly mistakes like this. That's what I got for you today. If you found this helpful, please leave a comment and share it with a friend, and be sure to subscribe for more Baldur's Gate and D&D content. Special shout out to my patrons, Rachel Alexandria, Connor O'Keefe, Christian Duncan, and Portal Wolf for making this video possible. If you'd like some fresh and exciting content for your 5e games every single month, head over to my Patreon and join for just a couple dollars. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the battlefield.